video games are really only just an emulation of real life, right? Video games are derived from real life, especially these games that are like MMORPGs that just require you to continue to invest more and more time doing mundane tasks that, sometimes can be a little bit challenging, but overall video games are a lot easier than real life, right? But you're still using your mental energy, right? You're still investing time and effort into achieving the next level, the next milestone, right? Completing the quest, whatever it may be. And then at the end of the day, you feel exhausted, you feel tired, you feel like, you've done a lot. And over time, when you make this a regular habit, when you're spending hours and hours on every day, putting all of this mental energy into these games, you realize that nothing is changing in your real life. Nothing's changing in reality.
I want to give you a bit of a backstory. So I started gaming around the age of 5 years old. Was playing consoles such as the NES and SNES, and then later on it was things such as the N64, Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, Xbox, and then when the high-speed internet came around, gaming online with different MMORPGs. And leading up to about the age of 10 years old, I did game quite often, but it wasn't as bad as it got after the age of 9 years old. So I got heavily into so many different shoot 'em up games, and I just couldn't get enough of them. And it got really, really bad down the line. It got to the point where I got into a game known as World of Warcraft. And when I got into this game, I never wanted to get off it. I just completely stopped doing everything else in my life. I stopped socializing with all my friends completely, and I was just solely focused on this game. It literally became my world. When I'd actually go and have to eat food, I'd eat as quickly as possible so I could get back to gaming.
You're putting all this energy into this virtual reality, but your actual reality isn't changing. And I feel like a lot of people who get stuck on these things and get so invested is because in virtual reality, they have some sense of power, right? They have some sense of prestige, of achievement, of success. But in their actual life, majority of the time, they're not successful, right? They don't have any power. They don't have anything that they look forward to in their reality. This is why it's so addicting for them to just run to games, because they feel like they have a better life in this virtual world.
I grew up gaming. I had my parents treated me. We had an N64 when I was like 6, 7. That was cool. Had some computer games. It was always like you have to come home and you have to do your schoolwork first, and then you can play, and then you have to be off by 9 p.m. or some shit like that. So my parents did a good job. They did a cool job with that. One summer where I binged, and this is an interesting summer, played Magic Online like 9 hours a day for a summer with my brother. Now, it wasn't very fun, even though it felt fun at the time.
So I would literally game every hour that I possibly could around the clock, wake up the next day and do it again and again and again. When I'd get bored of a certain character, I'd create another one, start with it from the beginning. It was just like going. If I look back on it, why did I get a gaming addiction? Well, one, my parents from a young age and other people just allowed me to play games, and they weren't aware of why it's not a good thing. But also, my family life was not very good. There's a lot of ups and downs. There was many times for years and years and years that I was depressed. I wasn't necessarily happy with myself and my life and what was going on in my whole human experience. So it had pretty much become a crutch and something to switch off from the outside reality.
Most of the time when you're addicted to these virtual worlds, it's because you don't like the world that you live in, right? And I feel like all of that just ties down to you not taking responsibility for yourself.
As you could have guessed it from the title and the thumbnail of this video, I am no longer going to be streaming video games on Twitch. A lot of things in my life have happened where I honestly need to be out and active and be there for my family to help them and support them. Not only that, but like my own mental health and my own physical health have been kind of deteriorating just over these past few months. getting back into gaming. I took a break for a while and I had a really good job and things were really good. I had friends in real life and honestly, like, I felt healthier than ever. I was working out, eating right, sleeping well, and doing things, you know, as they, in my opinion, should be. And when I came back to streaming on Twitch, for me and my personal health, me and my family's health, like, it's the right decision. Honestly, it's been forever since I've gone outside and even like talked to somebody. Not really, but you know what I mean. Like, it's gonna take some time to get used to.
If you can invest all of this time into these games, or to scrolling on social media, or to, you know, whatever it is that it may be that's not actually changing your life for the better in a positive way, then how can you make the excuse that you don't have time? This is the reason why I quit games, because they're designed for you to spend time, so much time on it in this virtual world, and you get this false sense of achievement, you get this false sense of success, when really nothing is changing in your life.
And the world of gaming is just way worse than when I used to game. Because when I used to game, there wasn't smartphones everywhere. They didn't exist. Like when I go to the gym, there's people that are on cardio machines that are just gaming the whole time. They're being a dopamine addict as they're meant to be doing something that's really, really good for them. And man, I'm telling you, if I had this when I was younger, like, oh, I would have literally never stopped gaming whatsoever. I've never had a break from it.
If you're not monetizing it somehow, I think it's pointless. If you are not monetizing games somehow, it's pointless, right?
And I know if I had been around now, when I used to be into gaming, I would have been like, wow, they're making really, really good money from it, because people like PewDiePie and other big gaming YouTube channels such as Ninja, which there is so many out there now, they make so much money. So for someone like myself, if I'd done that and built a successful YouTube channel that was with gaming, and then I'm getting a lot of attention and a lot of people loving me and just saying loads of nice things, which obviously you also get negative feedback as well. And then I'm making a lot of money at the time from it consistently, so I can have whatever I want and do whatever I want at such a young age. The likelihood of me just getting fully sucked into that world and never wanting to get out of it would have been very, very highly likely.
Right? Because for me, video games really pulled me in when I didn't feel good about myself, and I wanted something to make me feel good immediately.
I'm sorry, but video games suck. They're just not the point of life. They're a nice distraction here and there, but to just spend life staring into a screen, think about what you really want in life, and is it to play video games and computer games? And that's why I quit.
But yeah, guys, I hope you guys support me in this decision. I think a lot of people, you know, find comfort in playing video games every day, and it kind of just like separates you from what's going on in the world with, you know, what's happening in Ukraine and with Russia. I haven't spoke about it too much, but my heart really goes out to all the people in Ukraine and all the people in Russia who don't want to be a part of, you know, the war that's going on, because those people are just like me and you. They just want to live their lives, and sometimes it's easier to just stay at a computer all the time and not worry about the world, but that's not the real life, you know what I mean? Like, that's just lying to yourself.
'Cause what you say you might not get, and we can bet. So don't you get so jet scheming on a thing that's a mirage. I'm trying to tell you now it's sabotage. What could it be? It's a mirage. You're scheming on a thing that's sabotage.
I think that most people, without really being taught or trained, feel afraid to be around drug dealers, to be around the illegal drug industry, if you like. They have a sense of innate caution, being so close to something that could take their life away. And you know, the chances you're actually going to wind up dead, not that terrifying, but there's a broader sense in which getting involved with the drug game could take many years of your life away. And both men and women, I think, feel a similar sense of creeping terror being in any way close to illegal prostitution. Even if they're left-wing, even if they say sex work is work, to actually be in that alleyway or actually be in that brothel or be surrounded by, you know, pimps and players, a certain kind of fear. And some people are afraid of it, not because they're afraid of being a victim of it, but because they're afraid of their own desires and where that's going to take them. Some people are afraid because they're aware that if they let their desires get the best of them, they could lose years of their life that way. I don't think people have this kind of instinctual caution when it comes to video games, but we should. I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos lately about the 3DS. That's the video game system you see in the background. 2DS, 3DS. It's a Nintendo set of consoles. Console line is shutting down. The shop that sells the games is closing down. Not worth explaining. There are all these videos that just came up last week or two from these guys reflecting on the games they played on this system in the last 10 years of their lives, making recommendations for what you should buy before it gets shut down. And just the way these guys listed off the names of video games, the titles that they'd played from beginning to end, and sometimes adding in that they went back 5 years later and played it again. And you can Google around, and like each one of these titles is 40 hours, 60 hours, you know? Just recognizing whether it's a 40-year-old man talking about the last 10 years of his life, going from age 30 to age 40 with this console, or it's a 20-year-old man who's talking about going from the transition from childhood to adulthood. You know, you should feel afraid. You should feel concerned in the same sense that being involved in the drug game or being involved in the pimping game, it's not that your life is on the line in the same sense as going into a war zone or a battlefield. But man, you're risking the quality and the quantity and the meaning of your life in a much more insidious way. Just a couple of days ago, I had a voice call with a man about 60 years old. And I'm going to be honest with you, the only reason I gave him the time to talk to him is that he was about 60. Not that many of the viewers who get in touch with me are of that age group. Thought he might have something interesting to say, but it was just as frustrating and just as pointless as talking to a very immature teenager. A reminder that getting older and getting wiser are two completely different things. I said to this guy directly at one point, look, you're in your 60s. I'm in my 40s. I want to talk about what you're going to do in the next 5 years of your life. And I'm only really interested in talking to people who are going to make something happen in the next 5 years. People who have ambitions to change the world, to accomplish something great in the next 5 years. I want to hear what it is you're going to do in the next 5 years, and then we can talk about what you've done in the last 5 years and basically why you didn't make it happen already. I want to talk to people who are ambitious. And man, you know, if that ain't you, this conversation is not going to happen at all. I was polite. I was too polite. I'm making it my New Year's resolution to be a lot less polite the next time that happened, because apparently I was so polite that he completely ignored it. He completely missed the point of what it was that I was saying to him so directly. Having great ambitions doesn't guarantee that you're ever going to have any great accomplishments. But you can try, and you can fail. And out of that failure, even if it is only failure that you ever encounter in the pursuit of those ambitions, you're going to become a better person than you ever would be sitting around and pressing those buttons.